today we are tackling a concept that's, well, it's at the absolute heart of Mahayana Buddhism. It's an attempt to put a name to the nameless, to describe the indescribable. It's called Dharmakaya. But here's the thing. It's not a god, it's not a heaven, it's not a thing at all. So how in the world do we even begin to wrap our heads around it? Let's dive in.
Okay, so let's start with the one question that really unlocks this whole thing. When Siddhartha Gautama sat under that tree and became the Buddha, the awakened one, what was it that awakened? Was it just one guy figuring things out for himself? Or was it something way, way bigger? The answer to this question really changes everything.
And the answer, really, is a direct realization of this, Dharmakaya. You'll see it defined as the unconditioned nature of reality, kind of like the source code for everything that is. But look at what the definition makes sure to tell us it isn't. Not a person, not a place, not a thing. And that's on purpose. It forces us to ask, well, if it's none of those, then what on earth is it? And that's the mystery we're going to unpack. Right off the bat, our first big hurdle in getting a handle on this is language, just words themselves. We're trying to use these finite little tools to point at something infinite, and as you're about to see, that causes some pretty big problems. This is where it all started, the original Sanskrit term, Dharmakaya. Before it got filtered through centuries and cultures and translations, it was this one, single, really profound idea. The trouble is, a simple one-for-one swap into English just doesn't work. Every single attempt to translate it ends up telling us more about our own language than it does about the original concept.
And just look what happens. One single word explodes into all of these different ideas. Truth body, cosmic body, eternal Buddha. Do you see the problem? All these translations, especially the ones with the word body or eternal in them, they start to sound a lot like a god or some kind of being, and that is exactly what Dharmakaya isn't. You know, maybe the one that gets closest is Suchness, just reality as it is before we slap our labels all over it.
And listen, this isn't just some modern problem we're pointing out. The historian Donald S. Lopez Jr. puts it perfectly. The history of Buddhism is the history of translation. I mean, the Buddha himself said, go teach this in the local languages. Don't lock it away in some sacred tongue. But there's the paradox, right? The very thing you do to make it accessible, translating it, also risks watering it down. It's this constant, delicate balancing act. So if words by themselves are going to let us down, how can we possibly understand Dharmakaya? Well, thankfully, the tradition gives us a key. It's a model called the Trikaya, or the three bodies, and it describes Dharmakaya not as a noun, but as a verb, as an activity.
Now, the most important thing to get here, absolutely crucial, is that these aren't three separate things. They are three ways of experiencing one single reality. Think of it like this. Dharmakaya is the vast, formless ocean, pure potential. Sambhogakaya is the blissful, radiant experience of being in that ocean, the light shimmering on the surface, the joy of it. And Nirmanakaya is the specific shape it takes in any given moment. A single wave, a teacher speaking, a book you're reading, or even a mountain. It's all the same ocean, just showing up in different ways. This analogy here makes it even clearer. Just think about water. In its essence, it's just this formless potential, right? H2O. That's the Dharmakaya. Now, you pour it into a glass, and it takes on a very specific, tangible shape. That's the Nirmanakaya. And then, the feeling of refreshment, the simple joy you get from drinking it when you're thirsty, that's the Sambhogakaya. So you have formless potential, tangible form, and joyful experience. It's all just water doing its thing in three different ways. Okay, so that was our first key. For the second one, we're going to turn to the Chinese master Zhiyi. He came up with this brilliant way to look at reality that helps us avoid a huge common misunderstanding. The idea that emptiness in Buddhism means, well, nothingness. Zhiyi's Threefold Truth is actually incredibly practical. First, he says everything is empty. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means nothing exists all by itself with some fixed independent identity. A table is only a table because of the tree and the carpenter and our idea of a table. Second, he says things are provisional. Yeah, the table might be empty, but it still works perfectly fine for holding my coffee mug right now. It's provisionally real. And third, the middle, this is the genius part. He says these two truths aren't in conflict. They are one and the same reality. The table is both empty of a separate self, and it functions as a table. That dynamic relationship is Dharmakaya in action. All right, we've waded through some pretty deep philosophy, so let's shift gears now and see how this understanding isn't just a theory, but how it comes alive as this vivid, poetic, lived reality in the words of some of the great masters. Just listen to this from Zen Master Dogen.
He is not saying the mountain represents Dharmakaya or is a symbol of it. He's saying the actual shape of the mountain, the literal sound of the river in the valley, that is Dharmakaya. The world isn't a sign pointing to something else. The world, when you see it clearly, is the thing itself.
This famous quote perfectly maps out the journey. First, we just see things conventionally. Mountains are just mountains. Then, through our practice, we start to deconstruct that. Mountains are no longer mountains. We see their emptiness. But, and this is key, the journey doesn't end there in nothingness. The final step is to return to the world and see the mountain as a mountain again, but now with this profound new understanding that its very mountainness is a complete and perfect expression of this groundless ground.
Now this one is maybe the most radical statement of all. Nichiren is saying that with this deep insight, even the states of incredible suffering that we would call hell are not separate from Dharmakaya. Now that doesn't mean the pain magically disappears. Of course not. It means that even our deepest, darkest suffering is still unfolding within this boundless, unconditioned reality. There is nowhere you can fall that is outside of it. So let's bring all these different threads together. We've talked about the trap of words, the model of the three bodies, the philosophy of the threefold truth. So what? What does this actually mean for us, right here, right now? It really all comes down to this. Asking, what is Dharmakaya, is fundamentally the wrong question. It's like standing on the sidelines of a wedding and asking someone, so what is the dance? You can analyze the steps, you can talk about the music, but you'll never know it from over there. You only know the dance by dancing. Awakening isn't about finding some hidden thing. It's the realization that you've been on the dance floor this whole time. And that's where we'll end. You know, we spend so much time searching for this profound ultimate reality, somewhere else, in a special state of mind, in a faraway place. But what if it's not hidden at all? What if the sound of the traffic outside your window, the warmth of the tea in your cup, the simple feeling of your own breath moving in and out, what if this ordinary, undeniable, right here, right now experience is the very expression of Dharmakaya you've been looking for all along? What if this is it?